Today's guest in How I Got Here is a top executive in the energy sector. She is an industry leader who is passionate about bringing solutions to the market. She is originally from Germany but moved to the Netherlands many years ago. She has discovered her interest in marine biology and genetics, and today she is the CEO of the Dutch Marine Energy Center. Let's meet Britta Schaffmeister. Welcome. Thank you for taking the time to come and talk to me today. You really believe that marine energy will help us to accelerate the energy transition. Is that so? And why is that?
It's a difficult question, but thank you for having me here. And yes, I do believe that it will accelerate our transition. As well, I've been growing up next to the water, and I did my studies in marine biology, diving and stuff like that. So I saw the power of water. And then when I grew up further and then went into business, I saw actually the energy transition coming up. We put our effort in solar, in wind, but then I noticed that water is a really fast untapped resource of renewables. So I think we should need that to reach our 100% renewable goal of a renewable energy mix.
And I watched a recent interview that you gave, and I will like to ask you a question based on what you said in that interview. So I will read this quote.
Yeah.
You said, "Marine energy technologies are very important to accelerate the energy transition because we now have a lot of solar and wind power, but we also have challenges to balance the grid." So what challenges are you referring to in terms of balancing the grid?
I'm referring to the fact that although we have a lot of renewable energy power, the wind is not always blowing, the sun is not always shining. So at that point, if there is no energy, we don't have energy in our homes. And for water, water is always there, the power is always there. For example, we have power from waves, we have power from tides, but also temperature gradients. So there are a lot of opportunities to get that energy, to generate energy from the water source. And it's very reliable, it's predictable, so it can actually be a new base load for our energy system, which currently is being powered by gas. So to reach the 100% renewable energy system, we need water as a source. So that's what I meant, it's complementary. So it's not in competition with wind and solar,
right.
It's a complementary source.
Right, and so how did you get into this whole marine energy sector? Because is this your love for nature, or is this your passion for water? What was the main drive for you?
I think it's a combination of both. I mean, I do love nature, I'm passionate about water, but I'm also passionate about innovation and doing business. So for me, it's a combination. When I worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers, I worked with a lot of corporates, but then I also got introduced to the concept that we were building infrastructure and that we could put innovative solutions in that infrastructure. So if we defend ourselves against floods, we build a big infrastructure, and if we integrate their tidal power, we can actually accelerate our green energy transition as well. And that made me enthusiastic, because a lot of technologies were developed, but there were not concrete solutions yet. I'm talking now about like 12 years ago. That was the first time that the Energiedijken concept was introduced, to me at least. And since I've been working with the sector with a lot of passionate people, but also with bigger corporates and investors, to accelerate that the availability of technologies will go into the market so we can make practical use of it. And I think that's my passion, bringing science to the market to see it happen.
So you are kind of a hybrid. You like technology and innovation, the technical part, but you also more a person who loves nature, and you manage to kind of connect it all in you.
Yeah, I'm trying to at least.
Yes, that's very nice, very nice. And yeah. So now your company, Dutch Marine Energy Center, is based in The Hague.
Mm-hmm.
And do you see The Hague as the place for marine energy?
I see the Netherlands as the place for marine energy, and for us the Hague is actually a bit in the middle of it and is also accelerating energy transition. We see a lot of happening here with large corporates but also with renewable energy companies. So that's why we chose to be here, so we could actually easily go to the south of the Netherlands, to the north of the Netherlands, but also are very central internationally. We're next to the airport on both sides, so the airport, The Hague, Rotterdam, but also Schiphol. Right. So the partners we're working with, they love to come and visit us because it takes not as much time. And everybody sees that the Netherlands is good with water management. So for us, telling them that we're good in water management, including energy management, they see it happening here.
So you mentioned that location-wise, it's important for you to be here because also your partners are here. What does it mean for you? Who are your partners?
Well, we work together with universities, knowledge institutes, but also, of course, the technology companies who develop the technologies, governments. We need governments, municipalities, but also the provinces and the government on national level to develop policies that we can accelerate the transition and integrate the new technologies. Because mostly, of course, you see that legislation lags a bit behind on where we're going. So we need to discuss, we need to see where the opportunities are. And especially if you look at the Netherlands, we are a small country, we don't have as much space. So at the moment we are trying to find out how we can use that space the most optimal way. And marine energy solutions, you can integrate that in infrastructure, but also within our wind farms. So we can make much more efficient use of the space than we're doing now. And that is something to work together with the different partners and discuss how we could actually make this happen. And all those partners are here in The Hague. They're all available or can easily travel this way. That's why we chose to be here.
So would you say that your network of partners is strong in Europe?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. We have been building the last 4 years an accelerator program where we work with more than 80 partners in the whole of Europe. And we actually use European funding, but also funding from the regions to accelerate marine energy. And in total, the projects are valued around 60 million euros.
So what do you use these funds for?
We use them to bring the technologies to the market. So to make sure that they're de-risked, that they have been tested and demonstrated, that there will be certification available for them as soon as they are going for that. But also that their business case is developed, that they know which market they want to reach out to, that they find strategic partners to work with. So to make the whole story fitting and not only the technology.
So basically an energy startup who has, let's say, a technology in marine energy or a solution, they can come to you and you will help them to get the partners or get the fundings or get their business case. Are these the services that you provide to them? Or
yes.
Is there more?
Yes, those are the
more
services.
More or less that's what they get.
Mostly you first talk with them to see what kind of solutions they have. Then we'll search, okay, what are the opportunities we can offer? Are there services we can offer? Are there programs we can offer? Or do we refer you to another partner? Or just give you an advice on how to move forward? So the first time is always customized contact. And then see what we can deliver.
And how do they find you?
Well, mostly they find us through the partners we already have. As I said, there are like 80 partners around Europe, so people refer each other if you work together well. They find us on the internet. We have LinkedIn. We have also YouTube, not as much, but still we have a website. And people find us and they contact us. And you see that mostly with technology companies, because in the Netherlands, we quite have a good infrastructure for testing and demonstration. So that's not only DMEC, but it's like we have 9 institutes, knowledge institutes, with over 60 facilities in the Netherlands. That's quite unique, even in Europe, but also internationally. And that for such a small country.
In Europe, I understand you have a very good network and you help a lot energy startups. What about international projects? Do you have any projects on a global scale where you were involved or you helped or you collaborated with somebody?
Yeah, well, what we do see, I mean, we started first in the Netherlands to build the infrastructure, so and then Europe, and now we're more reaching outwards, so globally. We have been working with Japan, the Association of Ocean Energy, to see how we can exchange knowledge, But we also work with Indonesia, the government. There is a concept in the south of the Netherlands, the tidal power plant I mentioned before. The Indonesian government came here and they looked actually at the concept, and a Dutch consortia of partners. They went there and they wanted to have a bridge between two islands. And then you saw that the consortium said, why don't you make that bridge floating and then use the tidal power turbines under it to energize the two islands left and right of the bridge. There was not a lot of electricity on the islands,
right.
At least not clean electricity, so for them it was a win-win. So currently with the consortium they're exploring whether it's feasible or not to do it. But those kind of concepts, we also have been to Latin America. They have a lot of resource there. I mean, there's a lot of power in the oceans. And they have a lot of knowledge, but less technology. So we're trying to make those connections to see where are the resources and how can we connect that with the right knowledge and the right technologies. So work with a lot of partners around the world just to check how's your local situation, what is your problem, and how can we help you with marine energy solutions.
Going back to The Hague, I heard that your company, Dutch Marine Energy Center, has moved to the port of Scheveningen, and that's our beach area.
Yes.
So you are now part of the campus at sea.
Yes, we're actually the first inhabitant, I think.
Very nice, very
Yeah.
nice. And that area will grow and will develop more. Why did you move? Why did DMEC move to that area?
Well, to be connected to the sea, I mean, we're promoting marine energy, we're promoting water as a source. So it's great to have your office next to the water. And we're in the center of the harbor, so actually on all sides of our office we look at the water surrounding us. So that's inspirational. And also the plans of Campus at Sea, if we see what they want to accomplish to get different startups there, to get a vibrant community, that's very interesting for us as well. And we have plans to build a marine energy hub there. So to get all our partners on that location, they travel to us, we do the trainings there, we do workshops there, well, to get the community going and to get ideas going. I mean, we have the infrastructure, we have very renowned technologies here in the Netherlands, and we are positioned within the middle of Europe somehow in that way. And have easy access to all the other countries as well. Yeah,
I know The Hague is a beautiful city, and in the Netherlands, what you were saying as well, there's a lot that we can offer to energy startups. But what are we missing? Is there anything that you would say from your point of view that we need to develop more, we need to improve?
I think what you see, people want to see showcases, they really want to see examples of how things work. And being the city next to the water, it would be great if there would be a bit more examples that you just go to the harbor or to the beach and, or on the boat and then see an example. It doesn't need to be a very successful business case that it will be the energy transition part, but just to show it works and to give people the idea, okay, this is a solution I could actually use in my own country or at my own place. And that can be done by having real demonstrations in the water, but also by having some kind of an experience center. We have, for example, Beelden at Zee, that can be used to, well, to show how we do water management, but also how we integrate that with our energy management and with our dunes, with our, everything we do in the Netherlands actually. We're fighting the water quite some, but we're working, we learn how to work with the water. We learn how to build with nature, and that's something I like, that we're not fighting it anymore.
So would you say that we learn to work with nature better than others? Would you say that this is our competitive advantage?
I wouldn't say better than others, because there are a lot of like regions who work with nature as well. But I think the Netherlands is trying to do a good job in there as well, and I think we have the technology advantage to try new things and to showcase it here.
And your company is actually helping all these startups to get their solutions to the market.
Yes.
And that's the part which you like most.
That's the part what I like most, and especially because, I mean, there are a lot of problems in the world and with different industries, and what we're trying to do is actually connect to those markets. So we do connect to oil and gas companies, we do connect to water companies, and actually ask what their challenges are, and then together explore whether we can find solutions where marine energy fits in. For example, we just started a new collaboration with Next Step. It's also a company in The Hague with oil and gas. It's a collaboration between oil and gas companies. And they're searching for ways how to electrify their platforms. Well, we got into contact and then we decided together to do a feasibility study on how can we use the water surrounding those platforms to power the platform. So that's what I want. That's what I'm looking for, to have the contact with the different market players and together find solutions which are practical. Not far away, but just how can you implement that?
Yes, I can see that, because in those areas of crossovers, this is where you find actually opportunities to develop new solutions, to close that gap, to offer it to the market. So you said you work with oil and gas companies to explore these opportunities.
Yes, but also with wind farm owners.
Okay.
If you look at, we just started a bigger project, or at least we hope to get starting a bigger project to see how you can use wind farms to integrate also wave power solutions in there. It will not only give you a better balanced output of the energy from a wind farm, but it will also reduce maintenance and operations costs, because you could actually do that in one time. And that would be very interesting combinations of what we're already doing. And we're not doing that alone. I mean, it's not my sector. I don't know the challenges exactly. So that's why we need to reach out to them and to ask what their challenges are and see how we can fit in.
And what their challenges are normally when you talk to them. What do you discover? What do they tell you?
That they actually all want to green and want to do good things, but they not always know what's there. So a lot of people try to find new solutions, but often there are already solutions surrounding them, but I mean, they don't know. As I said, I don't know their challenges, but they don't know the solutions of other sectors as well. And that's the combination which actually energizes me most. Yeah. That you can use existing solutions with existing problems and solve them.
It is always fascinating for me to see a woman working in the energy sector. I used to work for an oil company myself, so I know it is quite tough industry. How do you find working in the energy sector being a woman?
I'm not sure if it's different than in other sectors in that way. I've been working mostly, what you do see, they're less used for collaboration. So they're more larger corporates, larger utilities who are not really used to work with startups. And that is, I think, a challenge, but you also see the momentum going that people, the acceleration for the energy transition is needed, so the sector gets more open to work together with others. I think that's the biggest challenge, not as far as women or men, but more the innovative way of working, finding collaboration, finding connections.
And what do you find most, you said that you like the innovation, you like to bring solutions, but what do you find most difficult in your job?
I'm not the most patient person, and finding solutions sometimes or demonstrating them takes a long time, but also changing behavior of people, what you said. I mean, if the oil and gas sector is not the most quick moving sector in change.
That's right.
On the other hand, if that sector starts to change, it goes really fast. It's like an oil tanker. If it changes direction, it takes a long time, but then when it goes fast. And I'm hoping that this moment is now there.
Right.
That will be the moment that they are accelerating their change. And then, we have everything ready to support that.
Nice. And so you live in The Hague already many years.
Yes.
So you don't feel as a tourist anymore here? It's your home?
It's my home, yes. But I love to play the tourist here. I love to go to the beach or sit at the plane or just enjoy the things The Hague has.
What's your favorite place in The Hague?
Well, I lived years at the plane, and I love to just get my laptop, sit there on the terraces, work, and then gradually the terraces get fuller and fuller, and then friends were ready with work as well, so they joined, and then you were just doing your work, and at one point it was social and having fun. So, and there were always different and new people there, so I loved that place, but I also love the beach.
Would you consider living somewhere else, in another city, in another country, for job or maybe for personal reasons? Doesn't matter.
Well, if the opportunity arises, I would certainly not say no. I'm not committed to be at one place. But it's not that I have the ambition to search for that now. I mean, The Hague, for now at least, has everything I want. It is a combination of nature, but also cultural and societal activities. I can do my work there. Yeah, my office moved towards the beach, but also my house moved a bit towards the beach where I live now. I don't live in the city center anymore, so I'm happy to be here actually.
Yeah, it's really nice to talk to you about what the Dutch Marine Energy Center does. I hope there will be more exciting and new things coming up in the near future. I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen in the campus at sea.
Mm-hmm. We will probably showcase that at the end of the year at the World Expo in Dubai. Right. So we'll showcase their climate adaptive infrastructure, what I said, that you have the barriers integrated with marine energy solutions. There's already examples in the south of the Netherlands, but also at the Afsluitdijk with salinity gradient pilot, which is called Blue Energy. So we will try to make that more known, that the Netherlands is good in this.
And do you think that we should work on that more, promoting the Netherlands and our strength in the marine energy sector?
Yes, I think.
And you going to the expo in Dubai?
Yes, we do several ones. For example, we also have the offshore energy exhibition and conference always every year in the Rij in Amsterdam. That's where we promote marine energy as well. But this is the biggest one, and as well the connection to make the connections with international companies, but also with governments, because they're actually the driving force for the implementation at one point. It's the larger companies and the governments. So we want to really showcase them what the solutions could be for them.
And do you also see at those events who your competitors are?
Well, I don't really think as competitors, because at the end we have a large challenge with the energy transition. So everybody who has a contribution there, I want to work with. And there's, for DMEC itself, they're not, I mean, we don't develop our own technologies. We don't have our own test facilities. So we're not competing with organizations who do that. And I think there's enough to do for everybody.
Okay. I have prepared 10 blitz questions for you.
Ooh, those are the personal ones, huh?
Yes. So what will you choose? Creativity or discipline?
Creativity. That's an easy one.
And why?
Because there you find innovation, you find new things, you find solutions. You don't find solutions with discipline.
Do you like to work more with creative people or with disciplined people?
A combination. That's
a very rare combination.
Yes, but I try to make that in my team, because you need the discipline to at one point get somewhere, because else you'll be flying around and having a lot of solutions, but they won't be implemented.
Right.
So the combination is best.
You're trying to get a balanced team.
Yes.
With a lot of creative minds, but also very result-oriented people.
Yes.
That's a smart approach. So next one, marathon or sprint?
Ooh. Sprint.
And is that linked to your answer also, that you said that you are a little bit impatient, you don't like to win? And
yes, I want to do a marathon within a sprint time.
Yeah.
So that's why I put my energy mostly also. I'm trying to be the driving force to get that going. So that's, the sprint is my favorite.
I think in your role you do need to have a lot of energy to get things going.
But I mean, you get energy from people as well, and if you see that people get enthusiastic, I mean, that's what inspires me as well.
Product or process?
Process. I like to work with people and see, I mean, if you go for the process, nothing can go wrong, because at the end you will get an end product, and if the process is well, you'll find the right end product.
I actually thought you would say a product, because you're so focused on solutions. But hey,
yeah,
good. Risk or strategic plan?
Then I would go for the risk, but of course with a plan behind it. But if you keep on planning too long, you see all the challenges on the way and you stop doing it. So at one point you just have to go and try it.
Very good explanation. I quite like it, yeah. Mistakes or lessons?
Lessons.
And what was your biggest lesson learned?
My biggest lesson is, I think, if you don't communicate, collaboration is not working, and that's both privately but also in companies or in business. So communication is very important.
Yeah. Brown cafe or a fancy restaurant?
I love them both. Then I'll go for a brown cafe. That's the coziness and just relax. And
you can say I choose both, but you mentioned that you lived on Plein in the center, which has nice brown cafes as well.
But it also has the more fancy restaurants. So I like the combination. It's the coziness of the brown, but also the openness and the creativity maybe of the more fancy parts.
Okay. I think you will like next question.
All right.
On the water or underwater?
On the water or under?
Or underwater?
Underwater.
Underwater.
Underwater, yes.
Is that because you're a diver?
Yes. Yes. It's so perfect. You don't hear the sounds of humans. You see the colors. And they're not even deep underwater, but just under the surface.
So what's your favorite diving spot?
I think it's even my first. I dived in Indonesia with my father when I was 18. And I saw so many beautiful fish and hammerhead sharks, and that was the most amazing spot on an island.
Nice.
But there are so many beautiful spots around the world, and that's one thing we should protect and use our resources like in a good way. That's why I don't love every innovation. It should be innovation which protects nature.
Yes, I totally agree with you. All right, next question. Harvard or Stanford?
No.
None of them.
None of them.
Okay.
That's for me, they're like big names, but big names are not what makes things happening, I think.
Okay, well, it's more about what do they stand for. Like Harvard is the UK-based and things that are attached to it, and Stanford is more American approach. What do you tend to be?
I use them both to get things going, so there's not one approach which is right or one approach which is my favorite. I think at one point we're all people, and you need to find a way in how people work together.
And you said one interesting thing when we spoke on the phone that really struck me, that you said, I'm not inspired by people, but that's not the way how I look at people.
Yeah.
Which is also what you were saying now. I find it really interesting perspective because, it's maybe, I get inspired by a lot of people. That's maybe the better way. So I don't idealize one. There are a lot of people who do great things, but it could be the baker on the corner as well. So it's inspiration by everybody who's on the planet, I guess. There are a lot of good examples of people living their lives and contributing to a better society. Yeah, I think it's an amazing point of view, actually, that you're so open. Very nice. Okay, luck or hard work?
Yeah, it's always good if there's luck, but at the end it's hard work.
Yeah. If someone wrote a book about you, who would that person be and why?
Crazy. Because then he or she would have to listen to me a lot of times and then find out how I tick. And that's quite difficult, I guess.
And it needs to be definitely a crazy person to do this.
Exactly.
All right. My last question. If you could change one and only one episode in your life, what would that be?
I wouldn't change, I guess. Everything you do, you learn. And it makes you do things maybe a bit different the next time. So I wouldn't change one episode.
I am at the end of my questions, but it was a real pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much. And I wish you best of luck with your new office at the campus at sea and your projects. And I hope you get more interesting projects and collaborations happening this year and another year and many years to come. I think you're doing a great job and really looking forward to see all the successes that you will make happen.